Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, everybody out there. How we doing? How we doing? Let me adjust myself. I think I said it in one of the other lessons a couple weeks ago that I'm gonna be starting later because we entered into the spring months, and we have longer days. So I'm gonna be starting at 2:30 just to complement the time and how the days is operating. All right. Hope we doing well out there. Hope we taking care of ourselves. Still battling this COVID thing, and I hope we relying on Yahuwah to get us through these times. We're gonna go in today, still dealing with the Split Kingdom series. We're gonna go into King ELAH, who's the son of Baasha. But first, we're gonna touch on the 10 Commandments. Okay. So first, with the 10 Commandments. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall have no other gods before me. What are considered some other gods? Money. Fame. Toys. You can have toys, right? Yourself, right? What else? Clothes. You can have clothes. Real quick, how is our sound out there? Can y'all hear me? Do I need to cut this up? 1 second. Give me 1 second. Good, but buffering. All right. Sound like something with the signal. Give me 1 second. Okay, we're gonna pick back up. All right. Said we was buffering. Our sound is good though. All right. So, yeah, all those things, you said money, you said yourself. What else you say? Clothes. Why are those things considered other gods?
Because you love them so much that you start bowing down to them.
Mm-hmm. In the heart, though, not physically bowing down to them. You know what I mean? Like if you hold something up and bow down to it. No. Talking about when you bow down, it means you reverence that more than Yahuwah. So that's where it becomes a god. So whatever effort, the energy that you put or the effort that you put into serving something or to dealing with something more than Yahuwah, that becomes your God. And that's when it's idolatry. All right? So that's when the Most High is displeased with that. All right? So you shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an idol. All right? Now, what is this talking about? Buddha statues.
And carved image.
Any carved image. Really any carved image. That's what it's talking about as a whole. All right, so going forward, it's talking about any carved image. All right, and any carved image that you bow down to. All right, let me read that out of here because I don't really like this definition. It only give you but so much, but it's much more to that law, right? So I'm gonna read this out of the Hallelujah scriptures real quick. In Exodus 20, and I'll pick up at verse 4, and it says, "You do not make for yourself a carved image," right? That's a carved image in the back, right there. See that? That's a carved image. You do not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of that which is in the Shamayim above, that's the heaven, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the earth. You do not bow down to them nor serve them. So now after you don't make them, after you're not supposed to make them, but then you're really not even supposed to bow down to them as well. That's so not to make a image and not to bow down to it. Now some people don't believe in making an image or having any images at all. And some people believe that you can have an image, just not bow down to it. You know what I mean? I've heard them both. You know, I honestly don't believe in having images at all. All right. And I just rather not deal with them at all. But that's my preference. Some people have their own preference. But for me, I just take this a little bit more serious, I guess, than most. And it says, "You do not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of that which is in the Shamayim above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the earth. You do not bow down to them nor serve them. For I, Yahuwah, your Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the wickedness of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing kindness to thousands to those who love me and guard my commands." So that's what pertains to this second commandment. I wanted to read all of that because this is just giving you just that one, that's one little definition of that law. And it's saying you shall not make for yourself an idol. Notice there's much more to them, right? Anything. You can't make no carved image and bow down to it, okay? All right. You shall not misuse the name of Yahuwah your Elohim. You should not misuse the name of Yahuwah your Elohim, right? You shall not misuse the name of Yahuwah your Elohim. Now, how can you misuse Yahuwah's name? By making a vow and not upholding it, right? What else? So it sounds like you're trying to say if you're trying to convince somebody that what you're saying is true, and you even go as far as swearing in Yahuwah's name, that is true, though it's not true, right? So if I'm lying to you and I tell you it is true, man, I swear to, and just in a way to get you to believe me, that is definitely defiling Yahuwah's name, using his name in vain. Okay, that's definitely using his name in vain. All right, yeah, that's good. Definitely using his name in vain. We want to make sure we keep our word when we deal with each other as believers. You want to make sure that you keep your word. All right, probably stay away from making vows, but you want to definitely do your best to keep your word. You shouldn't have to give a vow if you're consistent with truth and honesty, right? You shouldn't have to make vows to do that. That's something we're already commanded to do, right? All right, let's keep moving. Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. Now, how can we keep the Sabbath day holy? By praying. We can read the Bible. Shabbat Shalom. We will do what now? Hold on. Hold on, they saying the video stopped. I might have to start it over. It looks like it's still going. Yeah, we're gonna keep going. It looks like it's still going. All right. Yeah, Antoine said it's good. Okay, so now we can watch Veggie Tales. We can watch anything that pertains to the biblical stories, right? Joseph, King of Dreams, the Moses story, right? We can watch Veggie Tales, Little Isaac, things that pertain to the Bible that keep our mind focused off of the ways of the world. We cannot do our own pleasures. All right, we cannot do our own pleasures. Maybe I need to read that because we never talk about that. We cannot do our own pleasures. This is Isaiah 58 and verse 13. It's Isaiah 58 and verse 13. It says, if you do turn back your foot from the Sabbath, from doing your pleasure on my Kodesh day, and shall call the Sabbath a delight, the Kodesh of Yahuwah esteemed, and shall esteem it, not doing your own ways, nor finding your own pleasure, nor speaking your own words. You see that? Nor speaking your own words on the Sabbath day. Okay, so it's best to be not doing our own pleasures on the Sabbath day. All right, but anything that pertains to Yahuwah. Okay, so that's part of keeping the Sabbath as well. Not talking about the ways of the world, not talking about video games. All right, let's talk about Yahuwah. Okay, our conversation need to be righteous on the Sabbath. Not doing our own pleasures includes unrighteous conversation or conversation of the world. Conversation ain't necessarily unrighteous conversation. And what I mean is talking about work on the Sabbath. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's talk about things that's pertaining to Yahuwah on the Sabbath and pertaining to the Bible. And not talking about work and school and stuff like that, which we fall victim to because we still still just coming out of the world. But, ultimately we want to have our thoughts on dealing with the Father. Okay? How you honor your father and your mother so that you may live long in the land Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you. Honor your father and mother so that you may live long in the land Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you. You see that? So how can we honor our father and mother? Now, at this time, we're not necessarily in the land, but it's still a commandment to honor our father and mother. So how can we honor our father and mother? Listen to the instructions. What else? You can give them gifts to show them that you love them and that you respect them. What else? I'm not going to say, it's always going to be disagreements that happen between a parent and their children, or parents and their children. But what we should not do, because you're going to have a disagreement, what you should not do is go slander their name. So you want to keep your mother and father with a good name. You know what I'm saying? Keep your mother and father with a good name. You don't go slander them to your friends and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's how because falling outs is going to happen. That type of stuff is going to happen. There's always going to be disagreements because a child is going to feel like their rules should stand over their parents, which is false. But, what you should not do is go out and slander. Okay? So that's how you honor your father and mother. You shall not murder. Right? You shall not murder. Give me, what is self-defense?
different one because you were self-defense.
Okay, you tried it. Let me explain it for you and try to receive this. So murder, like say if we have a falling out and you don't like what I said to you, so you go home and you think about it and you come back with your weapon and you kill me. That's murder. That's murder, right? Right? Self-defense is on the other hand. You the same. We have a falling out. You don't like what I said to you. You go home, get your weapon, but this time, instead of when you attack me, I overcome you in self-defense and kill you. That's self-defense. Yeah, you died, but that's self-defense, though. You see what I'm saying? Because I was defending myself. You came to me with a weapon and tried to do me harm. You see that? Somebody break into your house and you catch them trying to steal, and y'all get into a tussle, and you end up killing them. That's self-defense. They kill you because of their intentions was wrong. That'll be murder because they had no business in your house. They was trespassing. You see that? Trespassing mean they are on your property without your permission. Okay? Yeah, so that is considered murder when you come and do me harm after going home and getting your weapon and you make an effort to attack me and you overcome me and kill me. Self-defense is I instead overcome you and kill you, but in the act of self-defense, you came and you tried to do something to me. You see that? So that's the difference. All right? You should not commit adultery. You should not commit adultery. What is adultery for a man? Yep.
And gets a new wife, that committed adultery.
And get a new wife, that's committing adultery, right? That's committing adultery for the man. Or if a man have sex with another man's wife, right? That's another one. If a man have sex with another man's wife, if he gets with another man's wife, because that woman belongs to another man, that is that man's possession. So he have no business laying with her. Okay? That is adultery for a man. Adultery for a woman is she belonging to somebody and then she go and go and sleep with another man. That is adultery. Right? So say, like we just mentioned how a man can sleep with somebody else's wife. Okay, that's adultery, but then the woman, they both got together and decided to lay together. So that's adultery on both of their behalf. And the scriptures would sentence them, it would sentence them to death for adultery in the land of Israel. You know what I mean? Because it was unrighteous. The Most High deemed it unrighteous. Okay, so that's adultery, but like I said, for the woman, that's for the man. For the woman, is her leaving her husband to be with another man, right? Okay. You shall not steal. You shall not steal. Is it all right for a homeless person to steal? It's not all right. There's no exception to this law, right? You should not steal, okay? You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. What does that word neighbor mean? It means family of some sort, whether it's brother or sister, mother or father, that word neighbor is in relation to family. And it can mean, your neighbor too, but you got to understand with Israel, they all come from Jacob. You know what I mean? But even in the law, it instructs Israel to treat non-Israelites or Gentiles that's willing to serve Yahuwah and live amongst them like they brother. All right, so they are supposed to be treated like a neighbor too, even though they're not technically from the stock of Israel. Okay. You shall not covet anything that belongs to your neighbor. What does it mean to covet? Well, first, let me cover the rest of this. I'm sorry. Let me back up. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. So you see here, you have a man that owns this house. Somebody hit the ball through the window, and he's lying on this other individual. You know what I mean? That's bearing false witness. All right, and the man is trying to see who's telling the truth. All right, the man is trying to see who's telling the truth. When problems happened amongst Israelites, when the law was given to Israel, they was instructed, the officers of that time was instructed to go through and find out the truth of the matter. So that means they had to ask a lot of questions to see if somebody was lying or if somebody was telling the truth. You know what I mean? So, so say if one person couldn't say, I saw this, and get somebody in trouble for committing a certain sin, it had to be two or more people. It always had to be two or more people that could bring a claim before a judge. You see that? So now the last one, you should not covet anything that belongs to your neighbor. You shall not covet anything that belongs to your neighbor. Right? So what does the word covet mean? Right. So in a situation like this, coveting usually is somebody that's putting together a plan to go, and then they about to go and act on what's in their heart. You know what I mean? It starts with what's in the heart. And if you don't check that, what'll happen is the coveting will lead you to go and break these other laws. You know, the covenant will lead you to breaking these other laws. Let me see something real quick. Let me see something. See if I can find it. So let me read this real quick in regards to keeping Yah's laws. Verse 9, it says, this is James 2 and verse 9. It says, but if you show partiality, you commit sin, being found guilty by the Torah as transgressors. For whoever shall guard all the law and yet stumble in one point, he is guilty of all. So in a situation with here, so if you break one law, you're guilty of them all. That means it's like you breaking all of the laws, right? And it's because, and especially in a situation where you coveting though, and I say that because what it can lead to, and ultimately it leads to idolatry, because it was Yah that gave us the laws in the first place. You see that? So if Yah gave us the laws, you ultimately commit idolatry. Say if you decide to go and commit unjust murder. Scriptures tell us not to lean on our own understanding. It's the understanding we're supposed to lean on. And of course the other laws. You see that? All right. So that's the 10 Commandments. And we are still in our Split Kingdom series. So we're going to talk about King ELAH. Let's see if he up here. King ELAH, who didn't rule. He didn't really rule for a long period of time, because all of these kings were sinners. So the Most High felt that I guess the Most High felt that he didn't want him ruling for a long period of time, because some of these kings got killed literally within a matter of a year. King ELAH ruled for 1 year, right? And a lot of Northern Kingdom kings did not rule for that long. Southern Kingdom ruled for longer periods of time because it was more righteous kings in the southern, in the south, in Judah. So we're going to talk about King ELAH. Let me get my... Open up the First Kings. 1 Kings 16:1. We're going to talk about what we talked about King Baasha last time we was up here. And that was the king that overthrew Jeroboam's house, right? But now King Baasha is starting to sin. Hey, what's up, man? You all right? King Baasha is starting to sin. King Baasha is starting to sin. And so the Most High is going to speak against him as well. Okay? So 1 Kings 16:1. Here, share with him. Yeah, share with him. 1 Kings 16:1. Then the word of Yahuwah came to Jehu, the son of Hanani, against Baasha, saying, For as much as I exalted thee out of the dust, and made thee prince over my people Israel, and thou hast walked in the way of Jeroboam, and hast made my people Israel to sin, to provoke me to anger with their sins, behold, I will take away the posterity of Baasha and the posterity of his house, and will make thy house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. All right, think about that. So y'all remember who King Jeroboam was? Who was King Jeroboam? Azel. Huh? All right. He's the northern. What? Go ahead. He was the first king of the north, right? He was the first king. Baasha is the second king now. He's the one that, because of Jeroboam's sin, he overthrew Jeroboam. The Most High allowed him to rule for a time too. But now Baasha is starting to sin. So we're going to cover kind of two kings. We're going to cover the end of Baasha and the start of ELAH. So that's why I just named the lesson, said that we're talking about ELAH, because we got to talk about what ELAH is Baasha's son. So, yeah, ELAH is Baasha's son. All right. So let's see what happened though. Behold, I will take away the posterity of Baasha and the posterity of his house, and will make your house like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat. Him that dieth of Baasha in the city shall the dogs eat, and him that dieth of his in the field shall the fowls of the air eat. You see that? So Baasha, because he was a sinner, and he was causing the northern kingdom to sin, he was going to die a dishonorable death, and his sons was going to die a dishonorable death. They wasn't going to be buried in their old age and buried in the yeah, they did. But it started with the king, see, because the people so much wanted a man to rule over them. They when they finally got a king, even in this time, they wanted to follow after the king more than Yahuwah. So the king was able to establish these gods that they would follow. And so the king, ultimately, people followed the king. The king led them to worship other gods other than Yahuwah. So yeah, they did. It was their fault too. They wasn't exempt. It was their fault too. They wanted to follow other gods. Yeah, but it started the king. He led them to do it though. So, and then the Most High right here through the prophet is telling them, like, we're going to get rid of not only am I going to get rid of you, your children I'm going to get rid of now. Okay, so that's why he's saying the posterity. That word posterity is talking about his sons that will rule after him, which is going to be ELAH. All right, so skip down to verse 7. No, skip down to verse 6. So Baasha slept with his fathers and was buried in Tirzah, and ELAH his son reigned in his stead. And also by the hand of the prophet Jehu, the son of Hanani, came the word of Yahuwah against Baasha and against his house, even for all the evil that he did in the sight of Yahuwah, and provoking him to anger with the work of his hands, in being like the house of Jeroboam, and because he killed him. In the 26th year of Asa, king of Judah, began ELAH, the son of Baasha, to reign over Israel in Tirzah 2 years. And his servant Zimri, captain of half his chariots, conspired against him. So when it says that Zimri conspired against ELAH, Zimri was a servant to ELAH, or he was under him. ELAH was the king, Zimri was working under him. And so Zimri, because ELAH, and it's always usually when this type of thing happened, when somebody conspired, meaning they plan to kill you. And in this case, Zimri was planning to kill with others, planning to kill ELAH. Why? It's because ELAH was unrighteous. All right. And then also it was because the prophecy had already gone out against King Baasha about his posterity, which is his sons. All right. So remember, Baasha was unrighteous. It led to his children being unrighteous, but it led to the prophet and the Most High speaking through a prophet saying that we're going to take out I'm going to kill your sons as well. Yep. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yep. The Most High, the way the Most High works, he could still have mercy on you, if you decide to serve him. But in this situation with ELAH, he was not. He decided to continue in the idolatry, worshiping other gods. We will go through some kings where you will see one king, mainly in the southern kingdom. We're talking about northern kingdom kings now. We'll see one king that'll be unrighteous. You'll see their son be righteous. And then you'll see their son be righteous. You'll see the king be righteous, but their son is unrighteous. You know what I mean? So the king will get blessed, but the son will get, the Most High be against the son. You see that? So you're going to see those instances mainly in the southern kingdom, though. All right, let's keep reading. So we almost finished, though. This ain't long. And it says, and also by the hand of the prophet Jehu, the son of Hanani, came the word of Yahuwah against Baasha and against his house, even for the evil that he did. Oh, let me skip down. I'm sorry. Verse 10, and Zimri went in and smote him and killed him in the 27th year of Asa, king of Judah, and reigned in his stead. And it came to pass, when he began to reign, as soon as he sat on his throne, that he slew all the house of Baasha. He left him not one that pisseth against the wall, neither of his kinsfolks, nor of his friends. Thus did Zimri destroy all the house of Baasha, according to the word of Yahuwah, which he spake against Baasha by Jehu the prophet. So that's when you see King Baasha and his sons getting killed because of their unrighteousness. Okay? Y'all have any questions? Kind of get it? All right, King Baasha. So King Baasha and his seed is no longer existing in Israel. Say that again. He was good at first. The Most High chose him. Yeah, that's a good question. He was good, but he started committing idolatry. So when he started committing idolatry, then the Most High sent a prophet to speak to him too and told him, because of your idolatry, that's what we read in the beginning, because of his idolatry, that he would be put to death, or that his seed would be wiped out as well. And so that's what ended up happening. ELAH was his son, was the son of King Baasha. Baasha died, and ELAH reigned, and ELAH got killed because he continued in unrighteousness. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, definitely, yeah. He was, and it's funny because when we talk about Jeroboam, King Baasha killed Jeroboam because Jeroboam was unrighteous. You know what I mean? So when Jeroboam was operating in the same way, Baasha was the one that the Most High chose to kill him. And so he operated in righteousness for a time. Then he started to commit idolatry. Once he started to commit idolatry, the Most High sent Zimri, like we just read, against him. All right. With that, that's pretty much the end. I'll let y'all want to do the hallelujahs. All right. On a count of three, I know it's just a few of us in here. I'll make it count. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Hallelujah!
Very good for just a few. Okay, let's get 2 more in. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Hallelujah!
All right. 1 more. On the count of 3. Make this one better than the last 2. 1, 2, 3. All right. Who? You didn't say nothing either. As a matter of fact, we gonna do. No, you didn't. I was looking at you.
You was talking.
Yeah. Here, let's do it one more time. Everybody say it. Everybody do it. All right. Let's make sure we all do it. Come on. Let's make this one the best one. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Hallelujah!
All right. All right. All right. Shabbat shalom. We will be starting praise and worship soon, followed by today's main lesson. You all have a blessed Sabbath and try to get some rest and continue to rely on Yahuwah to get us through these times. Shabbat shalom. All right. Shabbat shalom. We will be starting praise and worship soon, followed by today's main lesson. You all have a blessed Sabbath and try to get some rest and continue to rely on Yahuwah to get us through these times. Shabbat shalom.